I'm Tom Prince with Western New York Athletics, and our next edition of the Western New York Athletics Coaches Corner. We've got three coaches representing North, South, all over the place in Section 6, and some great programs again that we're going to discuss here today. With no further ado, my introductions for today. From Portville, Mike Matz. From Newfane, Gretz. And from Ellicottville, Chris Mendell. Guys, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on, Tom.
Anytime. So a lot's happened today, as we already know. They've already announced today there's been a cancellation of the state championships is exactly what's happened right now. So the state and section championships have been now canceled. The JV programs have been canceled, as well as the modified programs have been canceled, is where we're at today. We still have a chance, they're saying, that at least they're not canceling the regular season at this point for baseball. So that's just to give everybody an update as to where we stand, which means there's a lot going on. I get it. So my first question, just to start off with, is how are you guys doing in all this? Mike, let's start off with yourself.
It sounds like a cliche, but it rings true. I mean, we're taking it a day at a time. I mean, I keep telling our kids, until somebody who knows more than I do and has more authority than I do, we should plan on having a season. And it might be, okay, we're going back to school and the season starts right now and you got to be ready. So I've been telling our kids, stay ready, make sure you're throwing, with somebody that lives in your home. We've been doing Zoom meetings to talk about all the defenses and offensive stuff and, just doing some basic workouts that they can keep doing at home, just to keep them motivated, keep them, positive is the biggest thing, it's tough on adults, but, it's got to be even more difficult on the kids. So the bigger thing is making sure they're doing okay, emotionally and all that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's great because you got to go in with that mentality too, because even if they do figure something out, it could only be 6 practices, could be the most, and then boom, you're ready to go. So if you're not ready, like you said, it could be a long season because it's going to be such a short season for players, and you don't want to see them start off on the wrong foot. So great there. Chad, how about yourself?
Doing okay. I'm trying to communicate daily, if not daily, every couple of days with the guys. I've known all of them for years, and I know them personally, and I'm trying to keep their spirits up, keep after them about their schoolwork. And again, like Mike said, trying to get them to be active with their siblings. Many of my guys have brothers and moms and dads that will play catch with them, whatever it takes. If we have to jump back into it, we want to be ready to go. We put a ton of time in the off season, and I hate to see that wasted, but the reality of things, it's not looking good.
Yeah, and we got a chance to talk to Garrett, one of your players, on a previous one, so we know he's been out there working, doing the right things. And with a great playoff run that you guys had last year, I know you wanted to see everything to do. You can follow up on that.
Sure did.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like I said, fingers crossed. That's why I say on every single one of these shows, fingers crossed that something will happen for these kids. So, Chris, how about yourself?
Yeah, the same as the other coaches. I mean, the biggest thing is just communicating with the kids weekly, just trying to stay positive, hopeful that, we could play at some point. But, the further you go along, the more doubtful it looks. But we're still holding out hope here at Ellicottville. And, the thing we had a young team coming back, returning really 7 starters that started as sophomores and 9th graders last year. So I was we were really encouraged what we had coming back. So, but the main thing is, you got to look back at the whole reason why we're off here. Just make sure everybody's safe, or make sure everybody's healthy, and just if we do come back, make sure everybody comes back healthy and strong.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So it's absolutely fingers crossed there for everybody here in Western New York, not even only our high school athletes. So let's get into our questions. My first question I have for you guys is, how does a smaller school like the ones that you have make sure that there is a large enough baseball pool every year so that you've got enough players for each season? Or not even so that it's enough players, but even enough players that you're going to go and go for sectional crowns and have some big teams and make sure that you got those winning records and do all those things that you want to do as far as compete at the level that you want to each season. Chad, let's start with you on this one.
I think the thing that's been working for us, or at least turning the program around the last 5 years, has been my JV coach, is a teacher. He was my student teacher, so he works with the younger kids. And when I say younger, we're playing middle schoolers on JV. My varsity team coming back has been with me since the 8th grade. Most of these kids were way too early taking our lumps. Little league coach is a phys ed teacher in the elementary with my wife. So I know him, Mike Capon, very well. So he works with the kids in the community, just keeping after them in the off season, making it fun, trying to encourage them to get out to our varsity games, inviting the little leaguers to come and sit on the bench or in the bleachers. We're turning the corner in terms of numbers. So we have probably 15 on the JV this year with 13 or 14 on the varsity. So for a small, we're now B2 school, those numbers are encouraging. We're losing 2 significant guys this year, but hopefully we get to see them on the field. But it's been a process, and with the 3 coaches working in the district, I think that's very helpful.
That's great. Chad, do you ever get a chance to go down into the Little League program to do anything, or have any of the high school players come down and do anything with them?
We talked about that this off season, but with the basketball run, most of our kids were tied up there. But I've gotten out to watch some of the kids play in the summer, and again, Coach Capons, I worked with him for years, so I know exactly what he's teaching at that level. It's transitioning to the JV level and then on up. My JV coach Ryan Keys and I worked together. He's my volunteer assistant for years, so it's that consistency from about 9, 10, 11 years old coming up to the varsity.
That's fantastic. That's great. Chris, how about yourself on that one?
Yeah, I would say that I'm in a unique situation. I teach elementary phys ed, so I tend to spend a little longer on our baseball unit, softball unit, working on skills with the kids. So I can kind of get an idea what's coming up for the future with my job, actually. So that makes it nice. And I think consistency of coaching staff. Rob Sawicki's been a volunteer of mine since probably 15 to 20 years. Jason Marsh, our football coach, is on board with us now. I just had Rick DeKay come on board with us for modified, longtime West Valley coach. So having good coaches and just, the whole, just trying to keep the program consistently moving along. And for a smaller school, it's difficult. I mean, we've been a D school, since I've been coaching the last couple of years, we've been a C, but we're on the bottom level of the C. I think we're probably the smallest C or the second smallest C in the section. So we've been fortunate at Ellicottville, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of. We kept the program alive. We've had some lean years, but we've always had enough to have a program. One unique thing at Ellicottville, I mean, you listen to all these coaches, I've never made a cut in all my years of coaching. Whether, I would say probably the most I've had on my team is maybe 17 or 18, but I make it known to the kids, that you may not be seeing some playing time, but I think at Ellicottville, what we try to convey here is, it's more than baseball. There's more to it. We're teaching kids about the game of life and, life beyond baseball. So I think that's important in a small school, any school really, to teach these kids. And I think that's our overall goal in athletics at Ellicottville, and it's going well for us.
And Chris, that Little League program has been developing over the last couple years. I know Todd's at the helm down there, really trying to build up that travel program, which is going to hopefully be a big boost in the future to you guys too.
Yeah, we've had some good community support. Todd's spearheading it for sure. We just got our town field just got redone in our facility downtown. So I think that's going to spur some more interest. But I guess the biggest thing with the small school we have is that it seems like we'll have the best years we have the kids are playing multiple sports. We don't have enough kids to go around for a kid to, to concentrate and focus on one sport. We need our better athletes to play 2 and 3 sports for us to be successful. And I think that's what we've got going now. And that's what I was really looking forward to this year. We had a team coming out that was just full of youth and really, put the time into baseball. A lot of those guys played summer ball last year. So, that's disappointing. But I think we're heading in the right direction again here, and it's good to see.
Perfect. And I'll tell you, if you ask any of the coaches, they'll tell you they'd rather have an athlete that is a 3-sport athlete over somebody that focuses on one sport anyway. So, I mean, what you're doing is you're preparing them for the next level no matter what anyway. Yeah,
I think it's, I also coach football also, so we always encourage our kids to play multiple sports. And you hear it all the time now, college coaches. I mean, not that we send out big time college recruits, but we do have got people go out and play. And one thing they ask always, do they play in their sport? Obviously grades are important, but they ask, and they'll get into that aspect of it because, they're looking for competitors, and that's what we try to teach here. Be competitive, play as many sports as you can.
That's great, no doubt about that. Mike, how about yourself on that one?
For us, I mean, we've got a great Little League program. It's well run. Dave Swain and Pam Winke do a phenomenal job with that. We actually, through Pam and Dave, we did a Little League youth clinic this year, the week before our season started up, which was a great way for our varsity kids to, interact and meet some of the younger kids and vice versa. Our guys go down and help out with the Little League tryouts. We go down for Little League opening day and we tunnel up, so when each kid gets, small school where, a small community like Portville, our Little League has, 3 or 4 teams. So it's not like, we're not running out hundreds and hundreds of kids. So, we do a big thing with the Little League, and, our guys go down in their uniforms and they tunnel it up and clap it up and high five them on the way out to the field. So, we just try and we've been doing it long enough now that the kids that are on varsity remember when they went through, and they still remember that, I remember so-and-so ran our Little League tryouts, and I remember, high five and so-and-so. And so, I mean, anytime you can have that kind of interaction between the age groups is awesome. And like the other guys said, it really helps to have good developmental coaches. Our modified coach, Paul Wallace, and our JV coach, Josh Austin, are great. My assistants, Carl Hollenby, Wes Long, Kyle Howard, Adam Ray, are great. In fact, Paul, Josh, Adam, and Kyle are all former players of mine. So it's kind of nice, it's really coming full circle. I don't know if that says I'm really old or what, but, so some of these kids were, they were running through the line of the Little League, and now they're assisting me. So, I mean, it's cool. It's cool just seeing everybody, still have an interest. Like with a lot of us, we don't have, we tell people all the time, there's no money. You're not gonna get paid to be a volunteer assistant. You're not gonna, you don't get paid to be a Little League coach. So why are you doing it? Well, because you want to be here. You love the game. You want to, you want to give back. Whatever reason it is, it's something. It's a very altruistic reason why you want to be out there. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, that's why we should be out here to give back and help kids.
That's fantastic. Great answers. Wow, that'd be fun. That's something I want to be able to get some video of one time and make sure we promote those kids, because that's great. I love hearing that. Just more of the kids giving back, I think, and that's exactly what it does. It builds that camaraderie, builds that community, builds that baseball community down in Portville. Wow, great answer there, guys. So my next one, a fun question. A Casey Stengel quote. He says, "Good pitching will always stop good hitting, and vice versa." So I'm going to ask you guys, pick a side you'd rather have and why. Chris, let's start with you on this one.
I think there's no question it's pitching. Pitching to me it's the key. I mean, that's it's what makes the wheel go around. Being a pitcher myself, growing up in college, I mean, I know the importance of it. and being a coach, I mean, obviously, nothing happens in the game unless the pitcher throws the ball. So, and that's what we tell our kids. It's one position where you're always in charge. I mean, it's not a time sport, so there's no clock. You make it happen, and the success of any program, I believe, is through the pitching.
So, Todd, where did you pitch?
I pitched at St. Bonaventure.
Oh, wow, great!
Yeah, Coach Sudbrook, all-time legend.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Mike, how about yourself on that one?
Well, I'm going to follow right along with Chris. I was also a pitcher in high school and college, and I would absolutely agree that pitching is the name of the game. Also, I mean, it's a cleaner game. When the game is being pitched well and fielded well, it's just cleaner. I'm not interested in watching a 21-17 slugfest. I'd rather be a part of a 2-1 game. Where there's a lot of strategy involved, and the mental side of things is a lot more, I think shows up a lot more, your execution in a low-scoring, well-pitched game.
Very good. And Mike, where'd you pitch?
Niagara University.
Okay. Wow. I'm stacked with pitchers around me right now. Chad, how about yourself on this one?
Well, I was a college infielder, and I play a little catcher, so I still go with pitching. Our walks went down tremendous improvement last year with that. We put a ton of time into the off season on becoming tougher physically and mentally on the mound. And to compete in our league, you have to pitch well. And the hitting usually comes around the second time we face our opponents, especially some of the teams we face early in the season. The pitching has just been spot on the last year. So we really emphasize throwing strikes, keeping the pitch count down, and winning those one-run games, which we started to do last year. And there were quite a few of those. Like Coach said, we're a lot of 3 games, 5-4 games, so a lot cleaner.
No doubt about it. Chad, where did you play?
I played at Edinburgh back when they had a baseball program. I was recruited for football, ended up playing catcher and third base there. So
nice. Wow, great programs you guys played at. And Chad, I want to also say this, and I've said this on one of the other shows, I really believe the Niagara-Orleans division could be the most underrated pitching staff in all of Western New York. Some of the best pitchers in Western New York have come out of that division the last couple years. It is definitely the most underrated pitching staff, I think, in Western New York.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. You name the team. I mean, and the coaches in the league do a great job. I mean, they all do a great job of teaching the game well. Every kid that's on the mound, even the kids as the fourth pitcher, they know what they're doing out there.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the pitching staffs Medina's going to bring, right? You've got Albion, who's got a stud. You've got a stud. Wilson's had him in before, right? Akron's got him. It doesn't matter where you go. Roy Hart's going to retool again. Roy had one of the best in last season. It doesn't matter. You go up and down that division. It is tough. So now what I get to, and I always allude to on every one of the shows, the fun part of the show. And this is where you guys actually get a chance to talk about the makeup of your teams, right? And I've said this on as many shows as I can. It doesn't matter whether they're going to play or not this season. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because these kids deserve to be recognized and want to make sure that coaches like yourselves all get the forum to recognize your players. Whether they take the field or not, we're going to give them the recognition and the due that they deserve to be able to say they were a part of the baseball team. So with that being said, we're going to go down south. We're going to start at Portville. Mike, you've got a great team year in and year out, and it starts from those lower programs that we talked about. You've had youth that's been coming up through the program. You've got a good team that we were going to hear about from this season. Let's talk about the makeup of Portville.
Well, I think, we were looking to start. We were looking to start a bunch of young kids, kind of like Chris is talking about at Ellicottville. It starts though with our senior behind the plate, Mike Stillman. He was our quarterback in football. Broke his collarbone late in the season. And had that season cut short. and I've really admired how he handled that, how he's handled, the pause in the baseball season. And it just shows a lot about who he is. We have 3 seniors. So we have Michael, and then our next one, Colton Whitney. And Colton's a great guy to have on the team. He wanted to play last year and was not able to. But he really wanted to come out this year, was very excited. And he's another kid that I was super happy. He had never played basketball before. He decided, you know what? I'm gonna go out and play on the basketball team. I'm gonna go out and play on the baseball team, and that's great. And like Chris was saying, we don't like to cut people either. All we do is tell. A lot of times we hear, oh well, kids, they don't want to do anything, or they want to play video games, they want to be on their phone. And so so then when kids come out to play, you don't want to turn around the first thing you say, oh well, you're not good enough, go back and sit on the couch. So we really want to. I was super excited to have Colton on the team this year just for that reason. Like, all right, yeah, try something new. Get, be a part of the team. That's great. Our third senior is Tyler Morris. And Tyler has a tremendous future as an umpire. He knows the rules inside and out. I've already talked to him about taking the certification test. I said, Tyler, man, like, you know all the rules. The rules test that I give the kids every year, he knew every single one of them, the background of the rule, why the rule was. He umped some Little League All-Star games for us last year and got rave reviews. So I mean, he will be a kid that maybe won't be playing baseball necessarily, but it'll be a part of his life. I think, like I said, I think he's got the passion for it, and I think he'll make a great umpire or coach. And as you go down the list, I mean, I want to, I think I told you before, you don't want to leave anybody out. So I'm gonna try my best. Joe Long is a junior, and he plays center field for us. And he came up as an 8th grader. He'll play wherever. He's played all 3 outfield spots, third base, shortstop, second base, pitches. He's just very versatile. And again, when you have a roster of 11 or 12 kids, you need guys that can play more than one position. So Joe fills a number of roles for us, in addition to being a great leader. Dominick Pascucci, a junior, again, he does a number of things well. He's a left-handed hitter. He can play, gives us catching depth, plays on the left side of the infield, has played some outfield for us, and loves baseball. I mean, a lot of our kids do, but he does in particular, and takes a lot of pride in it. A late addition to the team this year was Jayden Lassiter, and you might know him from football. He wanted to come out, and he flat out told me, Coach, I'm not very good at baseball. I just want to be on the team.
That's awesome.
But I thought, if you can add a 1,000-yard rusher in the football season and a state qualifier in wrestling, if you can add him to the team, yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll make something out of that. Our goal for this year for him was to teach him how to run he has never played baseball. So our goal for him this year was, we're just going to teach you how to run the bases and pinch run you every game. And just get him on the field. And he's a great kid too. And then for the sophomores, we've got Nathan Patrese, who is efficient on the mound. You talk about like these low scoring games. He does not walk people. He actually set a Section 6 record for number of getting hit by a pitch last year. He was a magnet for the ball, which is maybe not a record you necessarily want, but he has it, and the bruises to prove it. Another sophomore is Dakota Masco. Dakota, again, was a state qualifier in wrestling, and plays football for us. And he can pitch and play the outfield and does a great job with that. Ryan Stillman plays in the infield for us. Ryan is I told our Little League crew this, Ryan's a great kid because he when he tried out for the varsity team as a freshman, we kind of dismissed him at the beginning. We're like, oh, all right, we'll let him try out, but he'll probably end up playing JV. And he did everything right, hustled all the time, worked hard, just wanted nothing more than to be on that varsity team. And at the end of the 3-day tryout, we said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and keep him. So he went from being, what we thought was a sure JV kid to being, and he started for us all the time. So it just goes to show you what hard work will do for you. We have Michael Cole, who came up last year as an 8th grader, and he's a 9th grader this year, and he would play outfield and pitch for us. Is very fast on the field, and somebody we look to be a top of the order guy going forward. We have I forgot about Maxie Gale, sophomore. He, Max is, starting to make a name for himself in the area. He's, on paper, he certainly looks the part. He's 6'5" and throws hard and left-handed. So, I mean, that's fun for a coach, especially considering he's a sophomore. And then we have an 8th grader, Luke Patrese, who's Nathan's younger brother. And Luke came up as a 7th grader last year and got a little bit of time for us. And Luke, I think the sky's the limit for him. He's got a lot of potential, and he just does a lot of things well that we need day in, day out. One other guy, Blake George. Blake came out and played. He came back to baseball last year as a sophomore. Had a really solid football season in the fall. And we were really looking forward to having him on the field this year and getting him in the outfield, letting him run down some fly balls out there.
Fantastic. I've had the opportunity to coach against Max on many of occasions. So I know Max very well, right? And so he's right now has been ranked also within the state as his age group by the PBR of New York. I know he's top 10 in his age group right now. So there's no doubt that this kid's got the ability to do something fantastic on the baseball field. And he's already done it against his age so far coming up, because I've seen him play. And he's got a bat too. I know he hit a home run for you last year. So
but don't tell him that, because he has it in his mind that he's going to be some sort of hitter or something. I keep telling him, do you know what PO stands for? Pitcher.
That's great. No, great kid, great family right there, no doubt about it. And it'll be fun to see what those guys do out in the field. So thanks for that one, Coach.
Yep.
So now we're going to go back up north. This time we're going to talk to Newfane. Listen, Chad, you've got what I'm considering, and I've said this on multiple times too. You have potentially one of the top 3 sport athletes here in all of Western New York, and should be considered at least that first team for a 3-sport athlete as long as we compete in all 3 sports. You made a great run last year in the sectionals. You were bringing that base back. You already talked about it with 2 seniors there, but 2 seniors leading the way. Let's talk about the makeup of Newfane.
Kind of going down the lineup, leading off with Dave Bunn. He's been on the varsity since the 8th grade, senior, all-league outfielder last year, number 2 pitcher. Kid can run, is a natural. Football coach wanted him to play defensive back. He would have been a natural. He just can break on the ball. He just has a knack for getting on base, scoring runs. Great kid, probably going to play some hockey at NU. Great hockey player. Number 2 hitter is a Hunter Urich. Been on the varsity since the 8th grade as well. Left fielder, scrappy kid who lifts weights religiously. He's one of our few kids that doesn't play multiple sports. He's a big-time hunter, so he lives out in the woods. And then you mentioned Garrett Schrock. We fortunate to have Garrett on the team. He's a just phenomenal baseball player, 3-sport athlete, all-league in football, quarterback. Honorable mention, all-state for basketball. I mean, he had multiple dunks this year, just could get up. And on the baseball field, I think that his future is bright at NCCC. I think a Division I school will be come calling. We had quite a few express interest in him, just wasn't the right fit at this point. I think he's going to work on his mechanics there. And then CCC, he might even play third base somewhere, and he can just do it all. He's been on the varsity since 8th grade, been pitching. He's been our number one since his freshman year. So throwing Garrett out there, I feel confident against just about any team. He keeps the ball down. He throws hard, works 3 pitches. He's just done a great job, and he's come a long way with his leadership. He's grown up quite a bit over the last couple of years. In our 4 spots, a sophomore, Tyler Bays. Another kid who doesn't play in multiple sports, but again, he lives in the weight room. I love the fact that these guys that aren't playing 3 sports and the rest of them do, they work out religiously, and they're buying into that program of putting the time in the weight room. In the 5 spots, Cade Littman, 3-sport athlete, big kid, can hit the ball with power, first baseman, just willing to do anything. He threw a couple of innings last year for us on the mound. Stands 6'2", about 260. He's an offensive lineman, forward on the basketball team. He'll be back next year. Junior. Our number 6 spot, Tyler Odette. Kid plays center field, shortstop. He pitches. He throws really hard, and he does a ton of work as well as a 3-sport athlete. Defensive back. He plays on the basketball team. Looking forward to him coming back and being our number 1 next year, right there with Tyler Bays. Our catcher is a soccer player, Trevor Heschke. He's a junior, and he came up and played as an 8th grader and was very not afraid. He came right up and was catching these guys, throwing hard, and I'm glad to have a guy behind the plate that can really take control, because I know how important pitching is, but with pass balls and the ability to block, Trevor does a great job back there. I'm looking forward to him, hopefully this year, possibly next year. Another senior is Kaden Gibson. He's a 3-sport athlete. He's probably going to, I think he's leaving in July for the Marine Corps, and he's done a great job, come a long way. We pulled him up as an 8th grader, and he's just willing to do whatever, and he works really hard for us. And our right fielder is Derek Dunn. He's a hockey player as well, and he saw a lot of varsity time last year, split between JV. He's a junior this year. Sophomore wrestler Camden Rolls, who plays catcher, plays second base, just about anywhere we throw him on the field. I love that attitude. And we have a senior, Richie Stern, who I think Coach mentioned earlier. This kid knows the game inside and out. He'll probably be on my bench in a year or two. I think he's going to Brockport to study physical training, athletic training. Just loves the game, the kind of kid you want on your team every year. And 2 kids who are coming up from the JV, Garrett Wilson, a sophomore, in shortstop pitcher, and Brady Harrington, a kid who's about 6'2", about 160, and we're looking for big things for him next year as a pitcher. Probably would have filled in for some innings for this year. This would have been the most veteran team we've had in years without having to rely on middle schoolers, which was going to set us up for a good run this year. I had an ambitious non-league schedule with Lockport, Maryville, North Tonawanda. So we were primed for the meat grinder of the NO, and hopefully would have been able to make a run in sectionals. But I think sectionals are out of the equation now. So I'm proud of the bunch of the guys that I have. They've come a long way as individuals. I said earlier in the interview that I've gotten to know them individually, and they've come a long way as young men. And that's the thing I'm most proud of, is they're sticking to it in the programs. I think on a good solid ground going forward.
Fantastic. Wow. It sounds like it's going to be a good team right there, and hopefully they're going to get a chance to play some games right there. So now let's go back down south. Chris, you've already alluded to it. 7 returners that are coming back. You had a young team that was gaining some confidence right now, that has had some time underneath their belts right now. And the more and more that those kids get a chance to play, the better that team's going to be, and the better the chance they were going to make the impact they were ready to go. So let's talk about the makeup of Ellicottville.
Okay, first I'm going to talk about my 2 seniors. Nathan Platz, he's a second-year player. He came out last year. His first year he's played baseball, and he started to contribute for us a little bit. And we were looking for big things from him. Our other senior is Christian Hutchinson. It's his first year playing ball. It's one of them kids. It's just a great kid in school. Asked me, Coach, hey, it's my senior year. Do you mind if I come out and give it a shot? Yeah, come on out, and let's see what we can do. And then it goes on to my juniors. I've got a pile full of juniors here. Lucas Adams, kind of a class clown of our team. Always got something funny to say and just breaks up the monotony at times. Braden Palmatier, you talked about his father, Todd, being a spearhead in our Little League program. He's another guy who keeps things loose around the dugout for sure. We had a couple newcomers this year. Leaf Jimerson, one of our best basketball players, a really good athlete. We were expecting good things out of him. He was a junior with a lot of potential. He played and modified and hadn't played in the last couple of years. Jamison Caldwell, another kid that's a three sport athlete. Same thing. Back new to the program, took a couple of years off. We were expecting things out of him. And then we kind of go on to the guys who will return, our juniors. Clayton Rowland's a three-sport athlete, really good football player, really good basketball player. Plays every position on the field in baseball. One of those guys that, he can do everything. Ryan DeKay, he's our catcher. Also, last year was our number 2 pitcher. Really good behind the plate. Calls a good game, blocks balls well. Wyatt Chudy, played third base for us, pitched a little bit for us last year. One of our better hitters. Brett Kerninsky, Brett plays outfield for us, plays football for us also. Harrison Newark, first base, big kid, hits well, also pitches a little bit. We'll move on to our sophomores. New to the team this year, our sophomores will be Andrew Boya, Josh Coolidge, Derek Pritchard, and Caleb Platz. Caleb is a three-sport athlete also. He's a really big kid. Started this year in football for us. And the first week of practice, he was looking really, really good. The kid's a big, strong farm kid. I mean, hits the ball really hard and really impressed. Possibly losing a year developing this kid is, who hadn't played baseball in a long time. We're really looking forward to that. Logan Reynolds plays center field for us. I mean, the kid can run. He tracks balls down like nobody really I've seen at his age coaching at Ellicottville so far. He's got a knack for it. We need to work on his hitting a little bit, but as far as defense goes, he's one of the best around. And then, probably our top returning sophomore is Lucas Marsh, our assistant coach, Jason Marsh. Jason also coaches football with us. His son is a really talented baseball player, takes it seriously, plays in the summer for a team up in Buffalo, and really developed into our ace last year as a 9th grader. I mean, competed every game he pitched. And, we're looking for big things for him in the future. I mean, he's got a couple years left after this year. So, with what we had back, we were really excited moving forward, and what we could do and make with this team. As I'm sure with all the coaches we're talking to here. I mean, it's just, well, especially with Chad from Newfane. I mean, the team he had coming back, what it sounds like. I mean, to lose that. I mean, that's a tough one to stomach. But I mean, one of the things that I guess that I want to just put in here is that I'm really, really thankful that I landed in Ellicottville. It's your first teaching job. I've had great support from our school board. Every administrator we've had has been really supportive of our communities, come around us in athletics, and we've had great kids here. Really coachable kids. And you look back through the time that you coached, and you can see these kids grow up. I've got kids that I've coached that I have their kids in school now. It's getting to that point now where I'm coaching their kids. So it's, I've been around a long time, obviously, but I'm just fortunate to be where I'm at. And this whole thing go around the world, it makes you really look back and think about, how lucky you really are, So I think, we got a good thing going at Ellicottville, and I'm proud to be part of it.
No doubt. That's a great way to end that, Chris. Thank you very much there. So that's all the questions I have for you guys. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me on the Western New York Athletics Coaches Corner. And hopefully it'll be the next time we get a chance to talk. It's going to be me covering you guys at the fields, and we get a chance to see you guys actually play some games.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.